Milly sat gaunt and studied her plate. In the rim she could glimpse that her father was late, for her mother stood vacant, alone by the clock, glaring at the hands, every tick, every tock. The air of anxiety, it made Milly fiddle, so she rattled her spoon, pushed her peas to the middle, knocked over her teacup and clattered her knife, and whistled a tune till her mother turned rife. "Please be quiet, you noisy little child. I've enough to contend without you going wild. The pigs on Gran's farm make less noise when fed, so finish your dinner and go straight up to bed." A knock at the door, like a thundering drum, with the rapping of knuckles and the bass of a thumb. At this interruption, and her mother's tears glinting, the girl scarpered to safety. Through the door she stayed squinting. A man she'd not heard of before, bailiff his name, broke in with force to deliver his pain. "Mrs. McDowell, we've come from the courts. We'll seize goods to the value of 5 and 5 noughts. Her mother stood pleading for the men to have pity, for her husband had left with a girl from the city. He'd taken the money to spend on a tart. So please, Mr. Bailiff, please have heart." Milly watched in silence as the horror unfolded. These brutes she sure felt should be told off and scolded, for they mocked at her mummy and broke all her stuff. But they went one step far when they snatched Mr. Fluff. The feline and Milly were best friends since birth. These men did not scare her despite their wide girth. So she ran up the stairs to fetch Daddy's 12-bore and fired 2 shots through the hinge in the door. "Oh, what have you done, child?" her mother exclaimed, for the thugs lay in pieces, both mortally maimed. "Quick, fetch that cloth for upholstery shining, and 12 of those bin bags for a body bag lining." The two set to work in a frantic sprint to mop up the blood and find every print, when Milly came across a posh piece of paper. "Shall I burn it, mummy, and turn it to vapour?" "Wait, my dear, it's bound to leave traces. Hand it to me, Milly, and tie up those laces." Mummy then made a little correction. She wrote on the warrant, "Successful collection." She folded the paper, popped it back in the jacket, and in with the bodies she carefully did pack it. A heave and a struggle, and they loaded the car, and they drove for 4 hours to a place very far. And there, in the middle of a secluded wood, mother and daughter dug best as they could. They said a few words to acknowledge the loss, and covered the bodies with bark, branch and moss. Later, Mummy spoke softly to Milly. She told her that talking was both careless and silly. It's best to forget that those men ever called, for most other people be greatly appalled. "Okay, Mummy, it's just one thing on my mind. Whatever Daddy's doing, it's not very kind. He's caused all this trouble over one piece of cake. What on earth is he thinking? For goodness sake!"